One of the most powerful realizations in life is that you're in control. Not completely, of course. There are things outside of our hands. But what you do, how you think, and the choices you make every single day, that's all you. And if you're willing to take ownership of those things, you can create a life that's not just worth living, but a life that feels deeply fulfilling, one that you're proud of. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. Have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions? Like you're living someone else's idea of life instead of your own? Maybe you're working hard, doing your best, but still feel like something's missing. That's where this journey begins. It starts with realizing that you don't have to settle. You don't have to accept things the way they are. You can decide right here and now to take control and create the future you want. But how? That's the big question, isn't it? It's not just about wishing for something different. Wishing doesn't work. It's about putting in the work, making the shifts, and committing to a new direction. And I found that there's 7 ways, 7 principles that can guide you in this process. These aren't theories. These are practical, time-tested ideas that I've seen transform lives. Here's the first one. Know what you want. I mean, really know. If I were to sit down with you right now and ask, what do you want? Could you answer me? Most people can't. Oh, they can tell you what they don't want. That's easy. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be stuck in this job. I don't want to feel this way anymore. But what about the other side of that? What do you want to create? What does your ideal life look like? Have you spent time thinking about that? You see, clarity is power. When you're clear about what you want, it's like flipping on a light switch in a dark room. Suddenly you can see where you're going and everything becomes easier. But most people go through life with the lights off. They stumble, they trip, and they wonder why they can't get anywhere. So the first step in taking control is flipping that switch. I remember talking to a man once who felt completely stuck in his life. He was working long hours, he was tired, and he felt like he had no direction. So I asked him, what's your vision? What's your ideal life look like? And do you know what he said? He said, I've never thought about it. Isn't that something? He was working hard every single day, but he didn't even know what he was working for. And he's not alone. That's how so many people live. Busy, but not purposeful. So I challenged him to take some time and really think about it. Not just what he wanted in terms of money or possessions, but what kind of person he wanted to be, what kind of relationships he wanted to have, what kind of experiences he wanted to create. And something amazing happened. As he started to get clear on his vision, he started to feel excited again. He had a reason to get up in the morning, a reason to push through the tough times. That's the power of clarity. Now, I want you to do the same. Take some time, maybe later tonight, and think about your vision. Picture it in detail. What does your best life look like? Who are you with? What are you doing? What kind of impact are you making? Don't be vague. Get specific. And here's the key. Write it down. Don't just think about it. There's something powerful about putting pen to paper, about seeing your vision in front of you. It makes it real. And don't worry if your vision feels big or even impossible. That's okay. You're not supposed to know how to get there right now. You're just supposed to know where you want to go. Because when you have a clear destination, you can figure out the steps along the way. Without that clarity, you're just wandering. And life is too short for wandering, isn't it? So that's where it begins. Get clear. Decide what you want. And let that vision guide you. Because when you know what you're aiming for, everything else starts to fall into place. Next, the second way to take control and create your destiny, take responsibility. Responsibility is a big word, isn't it? But I'm telling you, it's one of the most liberating concepts you'll ever embrace. Here's the thing. If you want to change your life, if you want to move toward that vision you've just created, it all starts with taking responsibility for where you are right now. Not blame, let's be clear about that, but responsibility. There's a difference. Blame looks backward. Responsibility looks forward. You see, life is full of circumstances we didn't choose, situations we didn't create, and events that happen beyond our control. That's a fact. But how you respond, that's up to you. That's where your power lies. I want you to think about this for a moment. What would your life look like if, from this day forward, you decided to take full responsibility for everything in it? Not just the good things, but the bad things too. The successes, the failures, the opportunities, the challenges, all of it. I know it sounds like a heavy burden at first, but it's not a burden. It's freedom. Because as long as you blame something or someone else for your circumstances, you're giving away your power. You're saying, I can't change my life because of this thing outside of me. But when you take responsibility, you reclaim that power. You say, I might not have chosen this, but I can choose what I do about it. That's where real change begins. I met a young man who had been through some tough times. He had a rough childhood, grew up in poverty, and struggled in school. He could have easily used those experiences as excuses for why his life wasn't where he wanted it to be. And believe me, nobody would have blamed him. But instead, he made a decision, a bold decision, to take responsibility for his future. He started small, taking night classes to finish his education. He worked 2 jobs to save money and invest in himself. And little by little, he began to turn his life around. I asked him once, what made the difference for you? And do you know what he said? I realized that nobody was coming to save me. If I wanted my life to change, I had to change it. Isn't that powerful? He didn't wait for someone else to fix his problems. He took ownership of his life and made it happen. Think about an area of your life where you feel stuck or frustrated. Ask yourself this: what role am I playing in this situation? What choices have I made or not made that have led me here? It's not an easy question to answer, but it's an important one. Because once you see your role in the problem, you can start to see your role in the solution. And look, taking responsibility doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. It's okay to ask for help, to seek guidance, to lean on others when you need to. Responsibility isn't about isolating yourself. It's about owning your part and doing what you can with what you have. But be careful. There's a trap here, and it's called excuses. Excuses are sneaky, aren't they? they sound reasonable. They let us off the hook. I can't start my own business because the economy's bad. I can't get healthy because I don't have time to exercise. I can't fix this relationship because the other person isn't willing to change. Sound familiar? But here's the truth. Excuses might make you feel better in the moment, but they keep you stuck in the long run. So, what's the alternative? It's accountability. Accountability says, I'm not waiting for perfect circumstances. I'm going to do what I can, where I am, with what I have. Accountability says, if it's going to be, it's up to me. That's the mindset that changes lives. Now I want you to think about this. What's one thing you can take responsibility for starting today? It doesn't have to be big, just one thing. Maybe it's your attitude. Maybe it's your habits. Maybe it's a decision you've been putting off. Whatever it is, take ownership of it and watch what happens. When you take responsibility, you take back control. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a creator of possibilities. And that, my friends, is how you begin to create your destiny. Next, the third principle, discipline your daily habits. Habits are the building blocks of your destiny. If you show me your habits, I can predict your future. That's how powerful they are. You see, success isn't about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do consistently. It's not about grand gestures. It's about small, deliberate actions repeated over time. Because here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Now think about this for a moment. What do your current habits say about where you're headed? Are they moving you closer to your vision, or are they keeping you stuck? Be honest with yourself. Because if your daily actions aren't aligned with the life you want to create, it's time to make some changes. I remember when I first started to understand this concept. I was a young man, broke and frustrated, working hard but not getting anywhere. Mr. Schoaf sat me down one day and asked me a simple question. Jim, what are you doing every day to create the life you want? And you know what? I didn't have an answer. Sure, I was busy, but I wasn't intentional. I wasn't building the habits that would lead to the results I wanted. That conversation changed everything for me. From that day forward, I began to pay attention to my habits. I started small, focusing on one thing at a time. I developed the habit of reading every day because I wanted to grow my mind. I made it a habit to save a portion of every paycheck because I wanted to build financial security. And I committed to spending time with people who inspired me because I wanted to elevate my thinking. Over time, those habits transformed my life. Tell me, what habits do you need to develop to become the person you want to be? Whatever it is, start small. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just pick one habit and focus on it until it becomes part of your routine. But here's the key: consistency. It's not enough to do it once or twice. You've got to stick with it. You've got to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's what separates the achievers from the dreamers. Anyone can set a goal, but it takes discipline to follow through. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Mr. Rohn, I've tried to change my habits before, but I always fall back into old patterns. And I get it. It's not easy. But I'm telling you, every time you fall, you have a choice. You can either give up or you can get back up and try again. And the more you try, the stronger you'll get. The secret is to keep going, to keep showing up, even when it's hard. Here's another thing to keep in mind. Not all habits are created equal. Some habits have a ripple effect. They influence other areas of your life. Working out doesn't just build muscle. It boosts your energy, your confidence, and your mental clarity. It sets the tone for your day. These are what I call keystone habits, and they're worth prioritizing. So what's one habit you can commit to starting today? It doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be consistent. Whatever it is, start now. And remember, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. As you begin to discipline your habits, you'll notice something remarkable. Over time, those small, consistent actions will compound. They'll create momentum. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. That's the magic of habits. They don't just change your actions, they change your life. Next, the fourth principle. Master your mindset. Your mind is the command center of your life. Everything you do, everything you achieve, begins with a thought. And the quality of your thoughts will determine the quality of your life. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to rise above challenges while others crumble under them, I can tell you the answer lies in their mindset. Here's what I mean. Your thoughts create your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your attitudes. And your attitudes drive your actions. It all starts upstairs, right between your ears. If your mind is working against you, feeding you doubt, fear, and negativity, it's like trying to sail a ship with the anchor down. But when your mind is working for you, oh, that's when the magic happens. That's when you become unstoppable. I remember a moment early in my career when I faced a serious setback. I had poured everything I had into a business venture, only to watch it fail. I was devastated. My first instinct was to blame the economy, the market, or even bad luck. But then I realized something. Those thoughts weren't going to help me move forward. They were keeping me stuck. So I made a decision. I was going to change my thinking. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, I started asking myself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to get better? That shift in mindset changed everything for me. Now think about your own life. What kind of thoughts are you feeding your mind every day? Are they thoughts of possibility, growth, and hope? Or are they thoughts of limitation, fear, and doubt? Be honest with yourself, because your thoughts are either moving you closer to your destiny or pulling you further away from it. Here's something powerful. You don't have to believe every thought that pops into your head. That was a game changer for me. Just because a negative thought shows up doesn't mean it's true, and it certainly doesn't mean you have to dwell on it. You have the ability to choose your thoughts, to redirect your focus, and to train your mind to work for you, not against you. But it takes practice. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant and nurture will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, negativity, and fear, you'll get a garden full of weeds. But if you plant seeds of belief, gratitude, and determination, you'll grow something beautiful. So the question is, what are you planting? Here's the thing. You can't change the people around you, but you can change who you choose to be around. And that's a powerful choice. So, take a look at your current relationships. Ask yourself, are these people helping me become the person I want to be? Are they pushing me toward my goals, or are they pulling me away from them? Be honest, because this is your life we're talking about. Now, I know this isn't easy. It can be hard to step away from relationships that aren't serving you, especially if they're long-standing. But sometimes letting go is necessary for growth. And remember, distancing yourself from negative influences doesn't mean cutting people off completely. It just means being intentional about how much time and energy you invest in those relationships. At the same time, you need to seek out people who can help you grow. These are the people who inspire you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. Whoever it is, make it a priority to spend time with them, to learn from them, and to let their influence shape you in a positive way. One of the most transformative moments in my life was when I met Mr. Schoaf. At the time, I was a young man struggling to find my way. But Mr. Schoaf saw something in me, potential. And he didn't just give me advice. He challenged me to think bigger, to take responsibility, and to raise my standards. His influence changed the course of my life. That's the power of surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, I want you to think about this. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Write their names down. Then ask yourself, are these the people who will help me reach my goals? Are they supporting my growth, or are they keeping me stuck? If the answer isn't what you'd like it to be, it's time to make some changes. And don't forget about the importance of being that kind of person for others. If you want to attract positive, growth-oriented people into your life, you've got to be one yourself. Be the kind of friend, mentor, or partner who lifts others up, who encourages them, and who inspires them to be their best. Because like attracts like, and the energy you put out into the world will come back to you. Finally, remember this: your environment matters. Not just the people you're around, but the ideas, the energy, and the culture you immerse yourself in. Make your environment one that supports your vision, one that encourages your growth, and one that reminds you every day of the person you're becoming. The people you surround yourself with are either a circle of influence or a cage of limitation. Choose wisely, because your destiny depends on it. Next, the 7th principle: commit to lifelong growth. I hope you're starting to see something important. Your life, your destiny, isn't a destination. It's a journey. And the moment you stop growing is the moment you stop living fully. That's why this final principle is so critical. No matter where you are in life, no matter what you've achieved, there's always more to learn, more to discover, and more ways to grow. Here's what I've learned. Personal growth isn't something you do once and check off the list. It's a lifelong commitment, a daily practice. You've got to nurture it, protect it, and make it a priority. And the best part? Growth is one of the most rewarding things you'll ever experience. The person you become along the way is the real reward. When was the last time you learned something new? When was the last time you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone? Not because you had to, but because you wanted to. If it's been a while, that's okay. But let this be a reminder. It's never too late to start again. I remember when I first started my journey of growth. I was in my 20s, broke, frustrated, and searching for answers. I didn't know where to begin, but I made a decision. I was going to read every book, listen to every mentor, and learn everything I could about success, happiness, and personal development. And I'm telling you, that decision changed my life. The first thing I realized is that growth requires humility. You've got to be willing to admit that you don't have all the answers, that there's always more to learn. And that's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Because the moment you think you know it all, you stop growing. But when you approach life with a beginner's mindset, when you stay curious and open, the possibilities are endless. Make it a habit to invest in yourself every single day. Whatever it is, commit to feeding your mind with ideas, insights, and inspiration that will help you grow. But it's not just about consuming information, it's about applying it. You've got to take what you learn and put it into practice. Otherwise, it's just theory. So when you read a book or hear an idea that resonates with you, ask yourself, how can I use this in my life? How can I turn this knowledge into action? That's where the real transformation happens. Now, here's the thing about growth. It's not always comfortable. In fact, it often feels like stretching a muscle that hasn't been used in a while. But that's how you get stronger. Growth requires you to step into the unknown, to take risks, and to embrace challenges. And yes, it can be scary at times. But remember this, everything you want, success, happiness, fulfillment, exists on the other side of your comfort zone. There was a man I knew who embraced this principle. He was already successful by most standards, but he wasn't satisfied. He wanted to keep growing, to keep challenging himself. So he set a goal to learn something new every year. One year, he learned to play a musical instrument. The next year, he took up public speaking. The year after that, he started a new business venture. Each challenge stretched him, taught him something new, and helped him grow in ways he never imagined. And do you know what he told me? He said that the growth he experienced was the greatest reward of all. So what about you? What's one area of your life where you can commit to growing? Whatever it is, make a plan to invest in that area. Growth isn't about being perfect. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Life is like a garden. If you don't tend to it, the weeds will take over. But if you nurture it, feed it, and give it attention, it will flourish. Your growth is the same. Tend to it every day, and you'll be amazed at what you can create. So there you have it. Commit to lifelong growth, because the person you become in the process will shape not only your destiny, but the legacy you leave behind. 7 principles, each one powerful on its own, but together they form a blueprint, a path for taking control and creating the life you truly want. So let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. It all begins with clarity. If you don't know where you're going, how can you expect to get there? Your vision is your roadmap, your guiding star. But it's not enough to have a vision. You've got to take responsibility for making it happen. No excuses, no blaming, no waiting for someone else to fix your life. That power is yours. From there, it's about the daily habits. The little things you do consistently that add up to big results over time. And along the way, you've got to master your mindset. Train your mind to see possibilities instead of limitations, to focus on solutions instead of problems. Your mindset is the engine that drives everything else. But none of that matters without action. Bold, courageous action that moves you forward, even when you're scared, even when you're uncertain. And as you take action, the people you surround yourself with will either propel you forward or hold you back. So choose wisely. Find those who lift you, challenge you, and support your growth. And finally, commit to lifelong growth. Because this journey never really ends. There's always more to learn, more to discover, and more ways to become the person you're meant to be. Now remember, the life you want, the destiny you dream of is within your reach. But it won't just happen. It takes effort, discipline, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. It takes a decision to stop drifting and start directing your life. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Take one step, no matter how small, toward the life you want to create. Write down your vision. Take responsibility for one area of your life. Commit to one new habit. Take one bold action. Surround yourself with one inspiring person. Do one thing to grow. Just one. Because that one step will create momentum, and momentum is a powerful thing. And remember, you don't have to do it all at once. You just have to start. Because small steps, taken consistently, lead to extraordinary destinations. So, are you ready? The pen is in your hand, and the story of your life is waiting to be written. Make it a story worth telling. A story of courage, growth, and fulfillment. Your destiny is yours to create, and there's no better time to start than now.